Yeah, Derek's back.
Can you see me?
Can't see you, but I can hear you.
I don't know why that's not working.
Well, stuff happens, right?
Tab's with me. We're just going to use one laptop.
Okay, that's fine.
So it doesn't echo like it was.
Yeah, that can be a problem. Okay. Travis is here. Can you hear me, Travis?
I can hear you.
Great.
I can. Never mind. We're good.
Derek is back. Let's see who else is back. Jarrett is here.
Yep.
You can hear me okay?
Yep.
See, I think what's happening is I try to keep these private within the university, and as a result, it was having some fits and starts if I asked the rest of the group to join. So I guess what I've got to do in the future is just invite the group that's supposed to be in the discussion, and then since I'm taping it, I can provide the other group with the tape, and they can listen to it offline. Were you all able to get the tape from last week and listen to it?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, good. Looks like we've lost a couple people. Maybe they decided to
Group chat still.
So there's 4 of you here now, including Tab. I know a couple people said they had work problems, so they're going to listen to the tape. So I'm just going to quickly review what we already said. Remember, this is a McGraw-Hill exercise. You've all read the text using Carradine Hartley's 6th edition, Marketing the Core. I mentioned about the importance of signing in to practice marketing. Make sure you get the access code. By the way, those of you that have courtesy access, be careful. Don't wait too long to transfer it to the actual program, because anything you've done could get lost. So don't forget to do that. All right. So we were talking about the marketing concept and some of the things that you guys had done, and Derek was sharing his product and what he thought the company did to appeal to him. So.
My product had like a very specific target market.
Yeah. See, what I'm trying to get to, and what you guys did is, you all did a good job in your write-ups. But what you did is you gave me what's called a tactical response. So you talked about your product, and you talked about all the things that made it work for you to buy. So in the future, what you need to do, be very careful. Read the question very carefully, because it says, what did the company do using the marketing concept? How did they use the marketing concept? Now, let's see. Somebody's yelling at me. Travis, do you remember what the marketing concept is?
I wrote it down.
Does it ring a bell?
Yeah, it's the idea that an organization should strive to satisfy the needs of customers and try to achieve organization's goals.
Okay. Let's make it real simple. We need to have a customer focus or a customer orientation, okay? We need to be profit oriented. So that's basically, I mean, there's more to the marketing concept, but that's basically it. So when you guys were answering your question, Travis, for yours, what was your product?
The iPhone cable.
Okay, and that was a neat description you did. But what did the company do you think, that made it so, or thought about it so that you would be attracted to it? What did they know about you that got them to make the offer? What do you think, as a target audience?
It was the lifetime warranty, because they knew that if I needed to buy a cord for my phone to charge, then my other one was broken. So
Okay.
the fact that they gave me the lifetime warranty pulled me in, because they knew that I didn't want to have a cord that was going to constantly break.
Yeah. Okay. So how do you think they found that out?
Through research.
Yeah. Basically, that's what it is. I mean, you know, this isn't this isn't rocket science. It's just using common sense. You all have to just get the right words, and you're getting there. So you do some research. Now, that research probably turned up the fact that it wasn't just you, but it was a whole bunch of yous out there that might want that kind of feature, right? And that's probably why they took that particular approach. Let's see. Jarrett, what do you think? What was your product?
Oh, well, I was thinking like a new golf club, like the most
all right.
recent technology with that.
Yep. So what do you think the company did to pull you in, other than the ads and everything else? Because I'm going to talk about that in a second. But what do you think they did? What did they know about you as a target audience that they thought would work to get you interested?
Well, I mean, I'd like to say they advertise like professional players and things like that, and it works for them, and it gives me confidence that's going to work for myself. But when it comes to promoting it, you mean?
Yeah. Well, before they get to promoting it, because this is critical to this process understanding, which is difficult. I mean, you have to figure out how this works. I mean, I've been doing this for 1,000 years, so to me, it's like rolling off a log. But after a while, once you get used to the process and you understand how it works, you can use it anywhere. It doesn't have to be a profit company. It could be a non-profit anywhere. You can use it in any service thing. So the thing is, with that golf club, what do you think the key thing was that they thought about that you'd want? Forget about the players and how they use it, but what would appeal to you?
I mean, something that sticks out about it. Obviously, if it makes the ball go farther, or
distance,
like technology, more updated technology. Yeah, distance, weight, things like that.
All right. Well, let's try to stick with one thing. I mean, we could do what's called a bundle.
Okay.
Let's try to stick with one thing. Let's say you're interested in distance, right? And for your age, weight, capabilities, and the rest of it, they're going to back up and they're going to think about their product from a standpoint of how can we increase distance.
Okay.
You all with me? Okay, everybody with me?
Yep.
So they're going to design something into that club that's going to give you some extra oomph. Now, is it in the shaft? Is it in the design of the head? Is it in the way the screws are put in? However they're going to do that to appeal to you.
Yep.
That's the beginning of the marketing concept. And then what they want to do is they want to be able to do it at a profit. So that's critical. And there was a time there when they used to say, well, if you did it right and customers liked it, profit would come. I got to tell you, after so many years of doing this, that's a bunch of bunk, because I would say every one of the companies I worked with, if they couldn't make a profit, they wouldn't do it. So they wouldn't even try it. I mean, they just say it's not worth it. They're not going to put their reputation on the line unless they think they can make a profit. So that's critical. So when we were, as a group, discussing this last week, we talked about the importance of exchange, which will be on your first exam. So you need to know what exchange is. We talked about the marketing concept, as we're talking about it right here. And we talked about the marketing process. And we applied it to a backpack. And that's why I sent that article on. And in listening to the discussion, if you were able to listen to it, we used the backpack. We started talking about how you would drag that through the process to actually sell it. So do you guys remember how we started the process? I mean, do you remember what the 3 questions were? Derek, do you remember what the 3 questions were that we asked?
You say Garrett or Derek?
Derek.
Oh. No, I don't really remember the 3 questions.
They were real simple. What have I got to sell? Who would want it and why? Okay? What have I got to sell? Who would want it and why? And as a marketer, as a management person, as a business person, whether it's a for-profit or non-profit, you've got to answer those questions. And when I say, what do we have to sell, those are your features or your attributes. So when Jarrett was talking about, I think it was Jarrett. Hold on a second.
Yep.
It was Jarrett was talking about the golf club. The attribute that they were dealing with then is how they were going to make that golf club to give greater distance. Okay? Does that make sense? Derek, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay? So I'm trying to answer that question. What have I got to sell? So their attributes or features, same thing. And then who would want it? That's my target audience. And why is the benefit? So Jarrett was right. You know, he gets to the point where when they start doing the promotion and the rest of it, they're going to take that thing that they developed, the ability to increase distance with that club, and hopefully over anybody else, and that's one of the reasons they're going to try to market it that way. And they're going to say, you know, when you buy my, I don't know, Titleist Club XYZ, I'm going to give you 50 more yards. And what does that mean for your game? So that's what we call a benefit. And that hopefully would get Jarrett to buy. You get that?
Yeah.
Everybody get that?
Yep.
I think I lost somebody else here too. Down to 3 of you. Well, no, Tab's there. Where's Tab? There we are. I see you in the background. Great. Okay. Tab, does that make sense to you too?
Yes, sir.
You understand what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
So this is the way we start this thing, and then that's how we use the marketing concept. And the key thing is trying to understand this process, how it works, because the whole book is based on this process. In other words, how do we get together a target audience? How do we get our product ready to sell? And then what are the things we need to think about to make this thing work? So that's why that's so important. And the real simple way we start this is answering those 3 questions. Okay? So let's jump ahead, and by the way, as you do these write-ups in the future, make sure you watch your grammar and your typos and the rest of it. I'm not taking off for it, but if I was the boss and you were submitting that stuff to me, you'd be in deep doo-doo. Right? And you know, it's not that it's a big deal that there are typos or poor grammar or other kinds of things like that. But what it says to a boss and to management is that, 1, you don't care about details, and 2, you don't care about your boss to really get it right so that they appreciate that you put the effort into it. Now that's what that says. You may not think that. And for you guys to work for Gen X bosses, which you're going to have to work for when you get out, they ain't too nice. They don't like that stuff, and they get very upset with it. I used to be a hiring manager, and I'd have, say, 8 or 10 really great candidates in front of me, looking at their resumes, and I didn't have anything else but the resumes. Now that's a problem, and what you need to do when you get in for an interview, you need something to take along with you to show and tell, more than your resume, so that somebody considers you, like you've done a project or something. Bring that along for show and tell. You've never done that before. But anyway, so I get all these resumes, and I'm looking at the resumes, and I start by saying, okay, wait a minute, this guy didn't spell my name right. All right, that went in the trash can. I looked at the next one, and they had all kinds of typos in the resume. That went in the trash can. I mean, I went through that, and finally I get down to 3 people where they paid enough attention to detail, and they had the right stuff in the resume. So it made interest for me to, I mean, I was interested in calling them in for a discussion. So keep that in mind. Try to do a better job with typos and grammar and the rest of it. Read it a couple times before you send it to me, right? And like I said, it's pass-fail on this stuff, so you know I'm not going to correct that stuff. But I may start getting angry if it gets really bad, or I might send it back to you, and say, do this crap over again, right? Anyway, so as I said, be very careful. Read the questions carefully when you're on that part of the program, when you have to actually do the write-up. Okay.
Do we have to do a write-up for this week since we're here? Or
what was that, Travis?
do we have to do the write-up for this week since we're on the video?
No. You only have to do the write-up when you're not on the Hangout on air.
Okay.
Okay. So it's good to look at it and see what it is and look at the learning objectives and the rest of it. But anyway, so looking at chapter 2. Well, wait a minute. Let me see. Well, this chapter 2, talks about developing successful marketing strategies and successful organizational strategies. So you need to understand that marketing and its plan, whatever plan you put together, fits into the organizational plan. That's very important to understand because the organizational plan has other things in it. Like it may have finance, it may have manufacturing, it may have HR. These are all things in the general plan, the general business plan. Marketing is a part of it, but as I've said before, marketing drives the plan. Some of my colleagues may not agree with that, but I've been doing this for so long. If you don't have sales in your plan, you don't have anything. If you don't make a sale, there's no business. So I can hear the screaming and argument from the colleagues, but have them answer that question. If there's no sale, why do we need them, right? And if we don't make an exchange, we're not marketing. So it's extremely important that it's in there. So that's part of the process. So when we start talking about developing successful marketing, just marketing strategies, let's try to answer a couple of questions. And this is trying to look at these learning objectives. Let's see. Garrett, what do we mean by a goal?
You said Jared?
I did.
A goal is something you set out to achieve, and you have steps to getting there.
Okay. And if we were doing it for marketing, say we had a marketing goal, what would be an example of a marketing goal?
Maybe trying to promote a product to get a certain amount of profit out of it.
Okay. That's not quite right there, but you got a good piece of it.
Okay.
Derek, we'll go back and talk about it. Derek, what do you think?
Marketing goal?
Yeah, try to take what Jarrett said and see if you can make it better. How would we make his goal better? He said promoting a product and to make a profit.
Not necessarily just to make a profit, but to get your product out there, especially if it's something new. People don't really know about it until it's out there, so you gotta set goals to get it out to the general public, I guess.
Okay, all right. Travis, what do you think? You want to add to that?
Like maybe get like a certain amount of subscribers in a specific amount of time. Like a week from now, you want to get like 1,000 people following your product on some sort of social media or something like that.
Okay.
To get that awareness out there.
All right, you're all kind of getting there. Let's be very specific about what a goal is. And by the way, in the text talks about using goals and objectives interchangeably. All right, and as I've told you before, and I'll say again, and I'll keep saying this, we have to go by the text because that's the basis of the exams and the homework, right? So just remember that. We're going by the text. I will tell you, however, based on my experience, that in the companies that I dealt with, and I've dealt with quite a few of them, objectives meant short-term things that you were trying to get done. Goals meant long-term things you were trying to get done. So a goal is usually somewhere between 3 to 5 years. An objective was something that you're going to do between one and two. More often than not, it was a year, 12 months. Okay? Now, when we talk about objectives, we have hard objectives and we have soft objectives. Hard objectives are 3 kinds: sales objectives, profit objectives, and share objectives. That's all. Nothing else. So what you guys were starting to talk about were strategies. And you say, well, why do I have to separate it out? Well, it makes it easier when you do it this way. So if I set a goal, so Jared, I'm going to go back to what you said. So you were talking about promoting is it the golf club? Is that what we were talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. So a proper objective is going to say what you're going to do specifically by when. So I would set an objective for your golf clubs. Let's say it's a brand new club. I would say I want to sell, or put I in these things. You would say you use a verb to begin. You'd say sell 10,000 units by December 2015. All right, there's the objective. Nothing more. You don't say anything else. Now you might say dollars. 10,000 units at $300 a club. So that's $3 million bucks, right? That's an objective. Now, off of that objective, you would then start pulling strategies. And that's the process. That's how you put a plan together. That's why we work it that way, so that we say, here's our objective, and I'll use the word objective, which means I want to do something in 1 year. And then I set up strategies off of that. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah, kind of like branching off.
Yeah, I branch off from this major thing that I want to get done. Remember, it's what I want to get done. Why, when, specifically. So that was sales. Then I would say the same thing for profit. So over the next 12 months, or over the next whatever period that we've got, say between now and December 2015, I want to sell those golf clubs at a 4% profit, or a 10% profit, or a 20% profit. Whatever your goal is. I mean, whatever your objective. Okay? So there's a profit objective. And then I want to take a certain share of market, and you establish that. Now, soft objectives would be something about customer service, or something with positioning, or something you might want to do with competition. I would call those soft objectives. And that changes by company. These all change, by the way, by company, and also by product. So those are objectives. So that when we get down to strategies, you guys all heard of the famous Marketing 101 4 Ps, right?
Yeah.
What are they?
Product, price, place, promotion.
Yeah, all right. Are there any others? Hey, Tab, how about, are there any others, Tab?
Just 4.
Yeah, there's those 4. Are there any others?
Not that I know of.
Well, I see there's a trick question. It depends on the company. Most of the companies will add things like, what are they going to do with competition? What are they going to do with customers? These are strategies now. What are they going to do for customers? What are they going to do for positioning? Let's see, what else might they do? Well, there's some other things they could add. What are we going to do for store traffic? See, these are all strategies. So when I say strategy now, you use the word how. How are you going to get something done? And that's why it's so important to say what you're going to do as a strategy. I mean, as an objective. Sorry, get you confused. What you're going to do as an objective, and then how you're going to do it as a strategy. And that's the basic process. That's how you put a plan together. And all the small businesses that I now counsel, because I volunteer with SCORE, is this is the core of what we start talking about. How to make this thing work. So that's the critical thing, and the way you do that is you go back and start looking at your features and attributes, and you try to figure out what works. So if we go back to Jarrett's example about the golf club, they figured out something that they were going to do to that club, whether it was the shaft, the grip, which I doubt it, but it's probably the shaft and the head, and more likely the head, within regulations, to get extra distance out of that club for you. And that would be a product strategy. Does that make sense? Okay. Tab, you're still with me, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Look like your eyes are closed, Tab. You falling asleep? Okay, sorry. Remember, I can see you, yeah? Right? All right. Okay. And that's critical to understand. All right. So what I'm going to do is I want to try to, hold on, I got a background here that's in the way. I want to pull the background. I want to try to go to Ben & Jerry's. I'm going to drop out of this. Let's see. Justin Roberts, he didn't need to, he sent me a call. He doesn't need to be there, nor does Alex, so I'm just going to cancel out of that. A bunch of others were trying to get in as well. So it just didn't work this time. Well, next time I think we'll get it to the point where it works correctly. Now let me just close out of this. So I'll have to make apologies to everybody. Is everybody still there? Yep, okay. For some reason it kicked out of me. What I want to do is I'm going to share screen. I hope this works. And I want to bring up the Ben & Jerry's site. Because I talked about what you do when you start putting a plan together and the pieces of putting the plan together. So we talked about setting objectives. We talked about strategies. We talked about backing that up with what the marketing concept is, and then backing that up even further, trying to answer the 3 questions. You know, what have we got to sell, who would want it, and why? Now, with most companies, especially ones that are already in existence, they've been running for a bit, and they may be successful or whatever, and they're trying to get by. And you're a management person. You're trying to work with them. You're trying to do a job. You're trying to figure out how to sell the product as a marketer. One of the best ways to start to find out about a company, and I would tell you that when you go to interview for a company, looking for a job, whether it's in sports marketing or anything, you want to try to find out what a company's doing in terms of how it presents itself, how it might treat its people, how it deals with its customers, how it offers its products. And one of the key ways, let's see if I can break this out and open this up for you. Where's my share? I'm going to do a screen share. And let's see, here's the screen. And I'm going to start sharing. Oh boy, why did we get all that stuff? Let's see, let me bring this up. Hopefully this opens. Do you guys see the Ben & Jerry's site?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Make a note that it's www.benjerry.com/values. Okay. And one of the ways we do this, as we start this process, is we look at something called the mission statement. Now, any of you know what do we mean by a mission statement? Derek, what do you think? What's a mission statement?
What the company's long-term goal is, purpose.
Okay. All right, Jarrett?
Yeah, I was pretty much going to say the purpose or the objective of the whole company, what their goal is to do.
Okay. Tab, what do you think, if you're still awake?
I'm here.
Okay, what do you think? What's a mission statement?
It's pretty much the same thing they said. It's what their goals and objectives are for what they want to accomplish.
Okay. Let's see, who did I miss?
What a company sets out to do.
Oh, I got Jarrett, didn't I? Because I can't see the screen right now. Yeah, okay, what they set out to do. It is the long-term view. Make a note, look on page 27. And I'll just go to the book for a minute, and then I'm going to come back to Ben & Jerry's. Mission statement, they say, is a statement of the organization's function in society, and it often identifies its customers, markets, products, technology, and so forth. And they say it's interchangeable with a vision. It should be clear, concise, meaningful, inspirational, and long-term. So this is from right from your text, your Karen and Hartley text, 6th edition. It's page 27. I would add to that from again working with a number of companies. A lot of them add their values. Some of you said their goals, and they do that to a point, but they want to be careful. They don't want to share it with competition. So it's an attempt to be as open as possible, but they don't want to be able to share too much with their competition. But some, on the other hand, are more open. And Starbucks is another example, a good example. The one thing that I've found in studying all of these, and it's not here in the text or it's nowhere else, and no one mentions it, and this is something to look for. And when you're interviewing with a company, you want to look for this too. It's called the differentiator. We talked about this before. the differentiator. In other words, what makes that company special or organization? What stands out? What differentiates them from everybody else? And it's usually product-based in terms of the goods or services. All right? Does that make sense? Yes?
Yep.
I see you all nodding. Okay. All right. Now, do you see what I just scrolled down to? It says our 3-part mission guides our decision making. This is from Ben & Jerry's now. Do you see it?
Yep.
Yeah, you see it on the screen. Okay. Now look, they have, this is the reason I use this. This is probably one of the better ones. And maybe because it's ice cream, it makes it a lot easier. But they still tell you an awful lot about what they're doing in spite of competition. And notice they have a product mission, they have an economic mission, and they have a social mission. And in the product mission, look at what they say. They say to make, distribute, and sell the finest quality all-natural ice cream, and here's the little kicker, and euphoric concoctions with a continued commitment to incorporating wholesome natural ingredients and promoting business practices that respect the earth and the environment. That's what we call a bundled differentiator. It's a bundle of features that they bring to the marketplace that they could then turn into to a benefit, whether you buy Ben & Jerry's or not. This is darn good ice cream. And it's based on this position of quality. So they're defining what quality means, and then they turn it into a benefit to get out to the public to sell the product. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
When you bring this up again, and I would again strongly suggest you pull up that site and read these 3 missions, because together they make up what guides the company. And then go down and you will see their values, how they define themselves, what's important to them. And if I'm a marketer and I'm working for this company, I've got things pretty well laid out for me as to where I can go in terms of how I'm going to promote and communicate and talk to stakeholders and everybody else. These things can all be turned into benefits. And remember, what you do is you sell through benefits, not through features. So if I say, you know, I have high quality in my ice cream, I've got to be specific as to why that quality is so good. Right? Make sense? I hope. All right, I'm going to stop sharing and try to bring it back. All right, I'm back. All right, so those are critical parts of this process that we try to initiate as marketers, and it's a way to get a discussion going with the company internally or externally. And for all the companies I've worked with, that's the way I start. I go to their mission statement and I'll say, you know, you guys say you stand for quality, and here are some examples that you make of what you do. Let's talk about how we're going to communicate that to the world. Let's talk about how we're going to market that. Let's talk about how we're going to turn that into sales. And then the process begins, and then you also take that into your marketing plan. So I'm throwing a lot of stuff out here, but does that make sense to you guys? I hope.
Yes.
Any questions about that? What don't you understand, or what seems a little shaky about that stuff? You have to think about it, right? I'm throwing stuff at you. You know, oh God, what is this stuff? Well, as long as you think it makes sense, it'll be on some exams in some shape or form. But hopefully you understand. If you don't understand and you want to talk to me privately, you can do that. By the way, a good example of all of the stuff we've been talking about, go to the case at the end of the chapter, the IBM case, and you think you've got problems trying to, say, sell a new product or start a business. IBM has been in business for many, many years, and they used to sell what we call hardware, computer systems, and they used to lease them. And then they moved into software services, and they were very successful at doing that. And the challenge right now, from what I find in my reading, is that the marketplace has turned into what we call a la carte service or a la carte software based on the cloud. In other words, companies no longer want to buy a year-long service. They want to jump in and jump out and use software whenever they feel they need it, and they want to pay for that rather than a long-term service charge. So if you're IBM and your whole business is based on this long-term leasing situation of the software, if you're not careful, you're not moving fast, your business is going to go down the tubes real quick. So you think that they're worrying? Damn right they are. So they got, and they're smart enough. They're working on it to come up with a solution. Actually, it would be fun to be working at IBM right now. When I started out, I started working for RCA and Honeywell, doing the same kind of stuff. So have a little bit of knowledge or background on it. Enough to get me in trouble, I guess. All right. Now, what I want to do is, let me just jump ahead, and then I'm going to go back for a second. Jarrett, where do ethics come from?
Excuse me?
Ethics, where do they come from? What are they based on, ethics?
I'd like to say like moral values, maybe.
Okay, great, perfect. Moral values from where?
I guess from what you've learned as a person from other people. Just common sense, really, just to know what's right.
Okay, that's moral values as of right now. I mean, if it was moral values in 1900, might be a little different in the United States, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you guys couldn't go and couldn't visit your girlfriend's room, and she definitely couldn't visit your room, and you definitely couldn't close the door, otherwise you'd both be shunned, right? So it's a different set of moral values. But what are they, Derek? Do you know what the moral values that we follow today? What are they originally based on?
What they're originally based on?
Yeah, where do they originally come from?
Doesn't it have something to do with like the Ten Commandments in the Bible?
Yeah. All right, good, good. It's our Judeo-Christian heritage. Our Judeo-Christian heritage. That's where that stuff comes from. Applied to today, spinned by society based on what they say is correct. And right now it's the American society, even though we're a melting pot. And our ethics come out of that. Now, if I throw China at you, how is it different for China?
They just have a different way of living. Like anywhere you go, they're just going to have different morals and ethics. Just like over time, everything changes too. From like
right.
the 50s to now, the ethics have changed.
Right. They have a different, let's say they have a different heritage. There's a term that they use, and I always get it wrong, so I'm not going to pronounce it, but it's based on patronage, based on whoever's top of the heap and what you do to make those people happy, if I've got that right. And I know it's different, and in Japan it's a similar thing, in other countries it's different. So as Americans dealing with it, we have to be very careful because it's a different basis of ethics. Now, you do have to realize there are some laws, and this is under Chapter 3. There is a law that you cannot bribe or use money in any other shape or form to get special favor in foreign countries. Otherwise, it's called the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. You could be prosecuted and go to jail, and you're not protected by your company. So be very careful. Now, you can pay certain fees that are required to do business, and they might be extravagant, but that is allowed under the law. But otherwise, you got to be very careful. So don't, I hate to say the number of companies I've worked for, and the CEO, whoever I was dealing at the senior level, say, "Hey, we got to push the edge of the envelope. Maybe it's legal, maybe it's not, but we got to make our bottom line. So we got to push it. Go see the lawyer, see if we can get by. You better come back with a yes." So you personally need to be very careful. By the way, what's the difference between a white lie and perjury? A white lie and perjury. If you lie on the stand in a court of law, you'll go to jail. right? Is there a difference between the way men and women lie? There is. Women lie to protect somebody else. Men lie to protect themselves. And if you think about that, that's pretty much true. No, we don't care about those women, right? Easy for me to say because there aren't any on the screen right now, right? But I think they might agree with you. I've asked a number of classes, and they said that tends to be true. You know, down south, you know, I see one woman greeting another, and she'd say, "Oh, Doris, your hair, oh, it's such a beautiful hairdo." And did she really mean it? Not really, but she couldn't think of anything else good to say. Guys wouldn't say that. They wouldn't say anything, I think, probably. Anyway, I better shut up before I get myself in any deeper, right? So when we talk about social responsibility in Chapter 3, remember that they're talking about social responsibility, doing what's right from a profit standpoint for the company, from the stakeholder right basis, and from a society basis. Now, you all believe that that's true? Are companies socially responsible? You don't know. Do you guess they are? Or are they trying to be? Maybe, right? They're trying to be socially responsible? Well, you know, you've got green marketing, cause marketing, sustainability. These are all things that a lot of companies are jumping on the bandwagon. I tend to be very doubtful. I think that they are socially responsible from a profit standpoint, because I've heard so many of them say, you know, what we owe to our investors, our stockholders. I've got to return stockholder value. But I've never heard them talk about the rest of the stakeholders, including their employees or society in general. But I hope with your generation that, in fact, will happen. You know, maybe it will. I don't know. All right. I'm just going to jump back to Chapter 2 for a minute. Two types of organizations. Let's see. Who we got? Still awake. Travis. Two types of organizations that we deal with. What do you think, Travis? Two types of organizations. You there? Give me one. As he turns.
Large and small.
What's that?
Large and small.
Very good. That's a good try. No, not really. Really different types. Think of what are the two things that most companies are concerned with? Companies now.
Money.
Yeah, money. So money and
Profit, non-profit.
Okay, very good. Profit and non-profit. So those are the two kinds of organizations, basically, based on what the text says. Now, the different levels are the corporate level. That's where you do a business plan. The SBU, which is the strategic business unit. That's where, when I worked with Ocean Spray, they had a lot of those, like the head of the Cranberry Group and so forth. And then there's the functional level where marketing comes in and where you run your marketing jobs. All right. So remember that. That will definitely be on the exam. Now, why do we use, Derek, why do we use marketing metrics? Marketing metrics.
I have no idea. I don't remember that part.
What are metrics to begin with? Do you know what that is? Or dashboards?
A measure.
Yeah, they're measurements. So it's numbers. So what do you think, Jared? Why do we use dashboards? Why do we use metrics?
I don't really know either. Probably to better understand or better measure something to do with your product. I don't know.
Yeah. We started the discussion talking about objectives, right? So I'm going to put metrics in place as to where did I start? How am I doing? Where did I end up? Am I accomplishing my objectives? Do I get a raise? Do I get fired? I mean, it's pretty basic. You know, that's why they do this stuff. You know, are you doing your job? So if you say you're going to do a certain amount of sales, you damn well better do it. Now, my experience has been that I put in a quota for sales, and the the CEO came down to me and said, "Sounds good. Increase it by 15%." And I worked it all out, and I knew that I could. It was a stretch, but I figured I could get that number, which is never good enough. It was always increase it 15%. So finally, I'd go in low and come in, and they'd say increase it 15%. So then I was safe, right? I still got fired a couple of times, so it doesn't matter. So sometimes you can't win. But anyway, metrics are extremely important to figure out what you're doing with your sales, with your share of market, what competition is doing against you, and you run those things monthly. I mean, I used to go into sales meetings where I had to tell them what was going on day by day with my sales. So these are metrics that are quantified. So very important. And as you go through the text, they'll talk more about it. You know, how you determine share of market and how you determine how you're doing in your market and that sort of thing. Let's see. Tab, how do we assess where the company is and where it needs to go? Taking a look at the company, what do you do? What do you think? How would you figure that out?
Statements.
What's that?
Financial statements.
Well, that can help. Actually, one of the things when you're looking at a company and you're interested in joining them, look at the published 10K reports. You can get a lot of information out of the 10K as to what they're doing, some of their strategies. Some people dump their whole marketing plan in there, which is unbelievable. I couldn't believe they did that. But 10Ks are very helpful. So financials, yes. So they've got they got P&Ls or financial statements. You can get that from an annual report if they're publicly traded. So yeah, that's good. What else, Derek? What else would you do?
You can also look at their income statements to see if they're making money or losing money.
Yep, and then that suggests what to you?
If the company's doing good or bad.
Well, you're going to start asking questions, aren't you?
Yeah.
And the questions would be why, right? Why? Well, actually, why are they making it? Why aren't they making it, right?
Yep.
You know, this is part of the assessment. In other words, you're looking for competencies. You're looking for competencies. So what makes, again, the differentiator stuff? So when you go through the chapter, there is, this is from the Boston Consulting Group, and it's a famous chart that a lot of companies still use, and it's talking about, they call it portfolio analysis, and they talk about the stars, the dogs, the cash cows, and the question marks, and then it's on an XY axis, and they draw a picture based on the metrics. So you need to know about that. That could be on the exam. And then they also do what's called diversification analysis. And there's a chart in there about looking at products in terms of current and new, and then also looking at markets in terms of current and new. And that's a way to start building strategies for the future. Take a look at that. That will be on the next exam as well. So a lot of stuff thrown out here. One other thing I want to ask you, remind you, on the on Chapter 3, why do we do a environmental scan? Jarrett, why do we do an environmental scan?
Well, is the environmental scan, does that talk about, like, background, maybe?
Yeah, what kind of backgrounds?
Could it be on, like, potential employees, things like that?
More to do with business than it is with HR. In other words,
Okay.
how they're going to succeed. That's why you do an environmental scan. So what are the things you need to worry about? This is from Chapter 3. Remember I said use the term CERTs? This helps you remember that.
Oh, yeah, I do remember you saying that. I don't remember exactly
Yes.
what it stood for.
It's an acronym for competition, economics, regulatory, technology, and sociocultural.
Okay.
So those are the things you want to assess. You want to see what's going on. Usually what I do is I look at competition first, see what's going on. And then we go out and we assess whether we can take them on or not. And that's part of your planning process. Now, after you do the environmental scan, and it's important you understand all those parts, and they're done on a regular basis, we do what's called a SWOT. And the SWOT goes in the plan after the scan. What's a SWOT, Derek?
It's an acronym, ain't it?
Yep, it's an acronym.
Oh, man.
And we all use it. We all use it in business. And we use it in profit companies and nonprofits as well. Anybody? Tab, you know what it is?
Strength.
I know last year in Intro to Business we had to do a SWOT analysis, but I don't remember exactly what the acronym stands for.
Okay, so when you did the SWOT analysis, what were some of the parts of it? Do you remember that?
I don't.
Well, how about something basic like what makes me good, what makes me bad?
Oh yeah, you're pretty much
Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and
what's
threats.
good about
There you
what
go.
you're doing, what's bad, and what you can improve.
Yeah, right. All right. So SWOT is an acronym for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths and weaknesses are internal for your company, or some people call them short-term. Opportunities and threats are external or long-term, and what you need to do for the future. Your job as a manager, as a business manager, whether it's in a nonprofit or a profit, is to take the weaknesses and turn them into strengths. And usually when you do a SWOT, it's in outline form, like 4 to 6 key things that make you strong, things that make you weak, or things you need to improve. And you put that into your marketing plan as part of your process to fix things and make things better. So you need to know what a SWOT is. So make sure you pay attention to that. That's important. It's important in all your classes as you go forward. It's very important when you go out and get a job, because they all talk about doing SWOTs. And you know, if you can do a SWOT, you're a step ahead of all your other friends out there getting jobs, because they don't know how to do it. All right. If I warn you out, it's only an hour, you know, other than the technology crap that's been going on. But it's only been an hour. Seems like 3, huh? All right. Anybody have any questions before we sign off?
I have a question about the lectures.
The what?
The lectures we're supposed to watch.
Yes. Yes.
Like, is there a certain order we have to watch them in, or like, do we watch them from top to bottom, or are we just?
Well, they're done by chapter. So the smartest way to do it is go by chapter, and when you go into the chapter, they're purposely broken down into segments. So you can watch them anywhere you want on any kind of device. Usually, you can even use. I think it takes an iPad or the other form. Not an iPad, but a 3G or a 4G phone. I don't know, you'd have to test that. But you can bring it down to your iPad or your PC. You watch it anytime, anywhere, and they're in segments. But you do have to watch each lecture, and I recommend you do it in order.
All right.
Chapter 1, Chapter 2,
If they
Chapter
were already in order or not, because they're kind of just like mixed up.
Yeah, well, the system does it. Why it does it that way, I don't know. I suppose I could go back and try to reorder it, but just logically, it doesn't make sense to jump ahead, and it's good you asked that question. So follow it in order, and I hope everybody hears this, because unfortunately, I'm going to have to put something out because people aren't doing it. You've got to watch those lectures because it's like attendance.
Yeah.
But the key thing is you can do it whenever you want. You know, you don't have to be in class, so that's the plus. So I'll send out a note to everybody. Make sure you watch them in order. Some people, and this has been done in the past, they wait to the end. But man, why do you want to wait to the end to watch all these lectures? Because if you don't watch it, I'm going to take grade points off.
So it shows you that we've watched them.
Yeah, there's a marker through the system that tells me which ones you watched and how long you watched it.
All right, because me and my roommate and Tab, we've been watching them just together, so that's how I just.
All right, let's see. You watched them together. I have no calculation for Tab then. So you need to send me a note when you're done saying that you both watched it together and you certify that.
Okay.
I'll believe you, but just got to make sure that you do that, because otherwise, university won't accept what we're doing.
All right.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. I mean, I believe what you're saying. You're doing it right now, so you know that's fine. But see, then I have no record for Tab. You know, so as far as the university is concerned, he didn't attend any classes, even though I certified. Then they know where I live, and they come after me. All right, so that's fine. So you just certify it when you've done it, you know, and I'll keep a record of it too.
All
You know,
right.
actually, it might be good if sometimes if Tab you sign in and you watch a chapter, and then Derek is watching, so you go back and forth, and so I know that you got the stuff right.
All right.
So let's do it that way. All right. Hey, Travis, Jarrett, any other questions?
I think I'm good.
Okay. Remember to get into practice marketing. Because until you get in, I can't put you in teams, and I can't start the tutorial, the big tutorial, which is a game. You can do the regular tutorial, but you got to get into it. Okay?
And when do we have to have like to buy it by? You said.
You got to get in there. I would say by Tuesday. I would say, and get the tutorial done by Wednesday for the first one. For the
All
first,
right.
and then I can put you on teams Wednesday for the first turn, which is Friday, I believe, next Friday.
So buy it by next Wednesday.
Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. Okay.
Yeah, get it sooner if you can, though.
All right.
Okay, guys.
Yeah.
See you later.
See ya.
Now we'll broadcast this to everybody whether they want it or not.